Hey there, I am Dennis Furia, and if you're watching this video, you are probably about to crack into my game, Deck of Wonders. So first off, thank you so much for supporting the game. I hope you have an absolute blast playing it, and I hope this video makes it easy for you to get into the game and learn the rules. I'm using the Tabletop Simulator demo for the game, which is available for free on Steam if you've got Tabletop Simulator. And hopefully this will just kind of walk you through the basic rules you need to know to play a game of Deck of Wonders. So first off, Deck of Wonders is a solo legacy tactical card game. And the story is that the Deck of Wonders is a powerful magical artifact created by the goddess Fate, and you have stolen it from her. So she is understandably furious with you. She's upending the world around you, sending all these villains after you as you try to escape and stay one step ahead of Fate. And every game of Deck of Wonders starts with you choosing which villain sent by Fate you are going to face off against. In this demo and the first villain you'll encounter in the game, we're going to use Cullen the Spoiled Prince. But there are several villains in the game, and every villain has several unique features that change your experience when you play different villains. So first off, every villain has unique rules, and you'll see Cullen has the unique rules Impatient and Fools. I'll do it myself. Every villain also has unique legacy packs that you can unlock through playing against them that add new cards and mechanics into the game. So those are listed out under the rules on their villain card. And then finally, every villain dictates some of the cards that you will use in the Deck of Wonders when playing against them. So when you choose Cullen to face off against, you need to put all of his cards, and that's cards with Cullen's symbol, which you see there on the left or right of the card title. You need to take all those cards and put them in the deck. You then also get to choose cards of your own out of your collection to complete the Deck of Wonders for this game. So there are also recommended cards. Cards in your collection have the Fate icon, which you see here, and cards recommended to go with Cullen have a single dot under that Fate icon. So that's deck building. You can get as into that as you want and completely customize your deck, or you can just follow the recommendation and get playing right away. Either way, the special thing about Deck of Wonders is that all cards, both the villains and yours, go into the same deck, and both sides draw out of the same deck of cards, meaning that depending on if the Forest Troll is drawn on your turn or the villain's turn, it is going to look and behave differently. And therein lies the fun of the game. The cards going into your deck have two main types. There are minions, which I just showed, that have stats in each of the icons, and they have a persistent presence in the field of play, but they take a little bit more time to actually come online and start working for you. There are also spells, which you'll know by their purple icons, as you can see now. And those have an immediate effect, but don't really have any permanent presence in the field of play. I'm mentioning the field of play, by the way. To set up the game, you will just need space for a draw pile, a discard pile, a player side, a villain side, and then health trackers / other rules cards that you might encounter later. So it's a pretty compact game. You can play it in a small space. So those are the two types of cards. There's also two sides to every card, like I mentioned. The player side will always be oriented with the main card title and will have 3 icons across the top, whether it's a spell or a minion. And the villain side will always be oriented opposite the main card name and have only 2 icons across the top. So at this point you've built your deck and you're ready to start playing. And this being a tactical card game, you are going to be vying back and forth for control of a field of play, with your objective being to reduce the villain's health down to 0 before your health is reduced to 0. You go in alternating turns, your turn, then the villain's turn. However, there are kind of 2 different sets of mechanics going on using the same cards within a turn, and we'll talk about those now. So when your turn starts, you're going to draw a card, and you'll draw that into your hand. You can then play cards from your hand in any order you want. The only restriction when playing cards is that you pay their cost if they have any. So for example, Treant Shepherd has a cost discard 1. That means when you play it, you have to discard one other card. If you can't discard another card, you can't pay the cost. So if this is the only card in your hand, it's a dead card. Cards may also have special text. For example, this card has play, draw 1. So while you have to pay a card to play it, once you do play it, you can draw another card up into your hand. Other cards, other minions will have no text, and those you can play for free. Just be careful you don't deplete your hand too fast, because then that leaves you at the whims of fate. When you play minions into your side, you're going to play them exhausted, which means turned sideways, like so. And while you'll resolve any card text on them, they are not able to attack or do anything else until the next turn. At the end of your turn, when you're done playing cards, you will turn these all upright, ready them, and pass the turn over to the villain. If you start your turn with any minions ready, then you can choose to attack with them. So let's imagine I played the Hungry Wolf and Pixie Mesmerist this turn, so they are exhausted, turned sideways, and unable to attack. However, I played Treant Shepherd last turn, meaning I started my turn with it ready, upright, and I can attack with it. To attack with it, you simply turn it sideways, so you exhaust it, and then deal its strength, the number at the top left there, in damage to whatever target you choose. So I could choose any one of the villain's minions that they have out, or I could attack the villain themselves, and they start losing health. And once you've attacked with it once, that is the one time it can interact this turn. If it attacks another minion, or it attacks someone that has a strength value, they trade damage, and that happens simultaneously. So let's say the Treant Shepherd attacks the Forest Troll. So the Treant Shepherd has 3 strength, that's at the top left, and 3 health, that's at the top right. It attacks the Forest Troll, which has 5 strength and 3 health. So, and I'll turn this around to the villain side for the moment. The Treant Shepherd's 3 strength is enough to destroy the Forest Troll, but the Forest Troll is going to deal 5 damage back to the Treant, which is enough to destroy the Treant as well. So if the Treant Shepherd attacked the Forest Troll, both would be destroyed. So you got to think through that as you're deciding who to attack and how to use your resources. If I chose to attack the Pixie Cavalry, they have 3 health, so the Treant Shepherd could destroy it, but they only have 2 strength, meaning they won't deal enough damage back to my Treant to destroy it. And so my Treant would survive, the Pixie Cavalry would be destroyed, and at the end of the turn, health always resets for all minions, so damage is not persistent turn to turn. If the Treant survives the attack, they don't keep that damage on them, you don't have to have counters on them or anything like that. Yeah, like I mentioned, you can play spells from your hand as well. They might or might not have a cost, and they have an immediate effect that you resolve when you play them. And yeah, that is your turn. So let's say you've played out minions, you end your turn, ready your minions, and it passes over to the villain. The villain operates a little bit differently. It is an AI-driven opponent, so it follows a set of rules, but it is favored by fate, meaning those rules kind of slant the villain's way, are going to give the villain the advantage. One of the main advantages is that when the villain draws and plays a card, it is played ready if it is a minion. So they don't have to wait a turn to attack. If they play a minion, it is going to be able to attack the turn that they draw it. The villain doesn't have a hand of cards. They just draw a card and immediately play it. If it's a spell, you resolve it. If it's a minion, you kind of put it in play, ready to attack. And then you move through several phases to decide what the villain does. And within those phases, you will have the opportunity as a player to kind of tilt things in your favor and kind of find small advantages that even though the villain is more powerful, you're more creative, you're trickier, and that's how you win in Deck of Wonders. So let's imagine the villain has pulled and played this Poison Toad. It already had the Forest Troll and Pixie Cavalry out. There's no difference because the Poison Toad is played ready to attack this turn. So the villain has drawn and played a card. Now we move into the battle lines phase, and this is your chance to influence things as a player. First off, you're going to arrange your minions from left to right in priority order. and priority is the green icon on the player side of all minions. So you see we have a 4 priority, a 3, and a 3. Higher priority always goes further left. So I'm going to pick up the Pixie Mesmerist, and I have to place this furthest to the left. And if there are 2 minions with the same priority, you as the player choose what order they go in. What you're deciding is the order that the villain is going to attack your minions. So yeah, we'll just kind of leave it in this order to start and see how things go. Then you can order the villain minions in order from left and right in any way you choose. So they don't have, they don't have a priority, meaning you can keep them in any order you want. So we'll just leave it the way it is, but and then we'll look at how changing their order can change the way the villain's turn goes. So you order your minions according to priority, and you order the villain minions however you want. And that is the battle lines phase. You then go to the attack phase. Villain minions will always attack one at a time in order from left to right. So the Forest Troll in this order is going to attack first, then the Pixie Cavalry, then the Poison Toad. They will always target the highest priority player minion, or after the battle lines phase, the furthest left player minion. So that means when it comes to the attack phase, the Forest Troll will be the first to attack, and it targets the Pixie Mesmerist. The Forest Troll has 5 strength. The Pixie Mesmerist has just 2 health, so that is more than enough for the villain to, or for the Forest Troll to destroy the Pixie Mesmerist. So it attacks. It deals 5 damage to the Pixie Mesmerist. The Pixie Mesmerist is going to deal its 1 damage back, but that's not enough to destroy the Forest Troll, which has 3 health. So the Pixie Mesmerist is destroyed. Now the new highest priority minion on my side is the Hungry Wolf. It has the same priority as the Treant Shepherd, but in the battle lines phase, I put it further left. So the Pixie Cavalry is next up for the villain. It will attack the Hungry Wolf. It has 2 strength, which is enough to destroy the Hungry Wolf's 1 health. It exhausts and attacks. And in this case, because the Hungry Wolf has 3 strength, it deals 3 damage back to the Pixie Cavalry, and that's enough to destroy it. So in this attack, both minions are destroyed. By the way, when you're putting stuff into the discard, I have to put the Hungry Wolf and the Pixie Cavalry into the discard together, but I can choose which goes on top. So within an attack action, you choose what order stuff gets discarded in. And that can make a difference, so pay attention. Poison Toad is up next. So we'll start with ignoring their card text. It is a 1/1 minion, and it would attack. The highest priority is the Treant Shepherd, which is a 3/3 minion. So 1 strength is not enough to overcome the Treant's 3 health. If that were all, if the Poison Toad didn't have any card text, it would ignore the minion that it can't kill, and it would attack the player directly. So the Poison Toad would exhaust and deal 1 damage to you. However, the Poison Toad has special text. It says poison. Destroy any minion this minion deals damage to. That means anything it hits, it will kill. Regardless of, if it has 100 million health, a Poison Toad can kill it because it's poisonous. And so because that means an attack on the Treant Shepherd would kill it, it will attack it and destroy the Treant Shepherd. The Treant does deal its 3 damage back, which is enough to take care of the Poison Toad's 1 health, and both are destroyed. Now, that did not go super well for us. The villain still has a Forest Troll ready to go on their side, and we had our board completely wiped. And so we are now starting our next turn behind. However, let's kind of rewind the clock back and see how this might play out differently based on priority order. I have to remember where everything went, right? There we go. Something like that. So let's change things up, and let's put the Poison Toad, force them to attack first, and then we'll play it out this way. So the Poison Toad attacks first. Its 1 damage normally would not be enough to kill the Pixie Mesmerist, which has 2 health. But since it has poison, it kills anything it touches. It exhausts, attacks, kills the Pixie Mesmerist. The Mesmerist deals 1 damage back because of its strength, which is enough to take out the Poison Toad. both are discarded. Next up is the Forest Troll, which is going to deal 5 damage because its strength is 5 to the Treant Shepherd, because the Treant Shepherd is now the furthest left, the highest priority minion. And so it attacks. The Treant Shepherd deals 3 damage back, which is enough to destroy the Forest Troll, and both are discarded. And then finally, the Pixie Cavalry is going to attack the Hungry Wolf. If it didn't have enough strength to destroy the highest priority minion, let's even say that, if there were other minions out there, let's put it just like this for the sake of example. If the Pixie Cavalry were up and this was the board, it would deal 2 damage to the highest priority minion, but that doesn't destroy the highest priority minion because the Treant has 3 health. Thus, it would ignore the minion, and it would ignore any other minions on the board. It only thinks about the highest priority minion. Since it can't kill the highest priority minion, it would attack the player directly, and that's the end of the turn. All right, that diversion aside, it can kill the Hungry Wolf, and the Hungry Wolf deals enough damage to destroy the Pixie Cavalry. 3 strength versus 3 health, and both are destroyed. So we switched up the order on the villain side slightly, and it gave us a slightly better result, right? Now both sides are wiped instead of us staring down a Forest Troll. But there is a way that you can make this even better for you by following the rules of the priority system. So let's pull everyone back out here. Let's keep the Poison Toad first, but let's keep the Treant Shepherd second here and swap the Forest Troll and Pixie Cavalry. I think I changed up these two's order last time. Now we're going to play through the attack phase with this being the setup from the battle lines phase. You'll notice it doesn't matter where the cards are in relation to each other. It is always just the villain minions attack one at a time in order from left to right, and they always focused on the highest priority minion or the one that's furthest left once you've done battle lines phase. So, Poison Toad attacks first. It deals 1 damage, but it's poison, so it kills the Pixie Mesmerist. The Mesmerist has 1 strength, so it deals 1 damage back to the Poison Toad, and both are destroyed. Next up, the Pixie Cavalry goes. So, it has 2 strength versus the Treant's 3 health. It cannot destroy the Treant on its own, but in deciding whether or not to attack the highest priority minion, a villain minion factors in the remaining attacks. So, Pixie Cavalry plus Forest Troll, 2 plus 5 equals 7, which is enough. So the collective attacks for the villain minions will destroy the Treant Shepherd. And so they decide to attack it, and they will continue attacking it until it is dead. So Pixie Cavalry attacks first, it deals 2 damage, and then the Forest Troll attacks next and deals 5 damage, which puts it over the top and destroys the Treant. The Treant deals its 3 damage in strength back to both minions. So it deals 3 damage to the Pixie Cavalry, which takes it out, and it deals 3 damage to the Forest Troll, which takes it out as well. We just got a 2-for-1 trade, and all 3 minions are destroyed. That is the villain's turn, and look, now we start our turn ahead on the board with the Hungry Wolf ready to attack. So that's probably the most complicated part of this game, is understanding the battle lines phase and how attacks play out using priority. But understanding and manipulating priority is key to you getting an advantage in a game where the villain has all of the higher powered cards and all of the favorable rules. So again, just to kind of summarize it, during the battle lines phase, you order your minions from left to right in priority order. Where you have a tie for priority, you can choose what order you put them in. And you know that the villain will always attack from left to right, one at a time in not in priority order. Turn these guys upside down because it's the villain side up. Attack one at a time from left to right, and they will always target the highest priority minion if their collective attacks will eventually destroy that minion. As soon as you have a situation where the collective attacks of the remaining villain minions will not destroy the highest priority player minion, they stop attacking the player minion and turn to attack the player instead. And obviously, if you don't have any player minions out on the board, all of the villain minions left attack the player instead. And that is how the game is played. So you go back and forth in turns, each drawing a card to start your turn. playing cards and resolving attacks as you see fit until one of you reaches 0 health, and that's the game. The one other thing that you need to know before you start playing is how the first turn is different. So I said normally you draw a single card to start your turn. On your first turn, you're going to draw 4 cards into your hand. That just creates your starting hand. So first turn only, you draw 4 cards. You can mulligan those 4 cards once, but it is an all or nothing mulligan. So you can put all 4 cards into the discard and draw 4 new cards, or you can keep all 4 cards that you drew. You cannot pick and choose what you mulligan. And then you play your turn as normal from there and turn it over to the villain for their first turn. On the villain's first turn of the game, they will draw and play 3 cards. And they will draw a card and resolve it. Once that card is resolved, then they draw and resolve another card, and then they draw and resolve a 3rd card. And make sure you do that separately, because some villain cards have instructions to draw even more cards. So if a villain's first draw is a card that says draw 1 as one of its some of its card text, that means you would draw a 2nd card as a part of the first draw for the villain, and they would still draw 2 more cards after that. Yeah, that is the basics of what you need to know. You can always reference the rulebook, which I have linked to in Kickstarter updates and in the same materials that you have the print and play files from, or that you have in the physical game. And you can also, if you're in this tabletop simulator demo, the rulebook is on a little iPad right to the right of the play area. Best of luck. I hope you have an absolute blast. If you want to talk to me for any reason, I love talking with people who play the game. So at deck_of_wonders on Twitter. And I hope you have an amazing time. Thank you so much, and good luck.